Morning, everybody. This is Thursday, which is the last day of the week of our Reseller Revenue Facebook group meeting live at 8 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Thursday. So it's the end of our work week, at least in here. But Russell usually is around on Fridays to have some kind of work group, and there's usually people in this room for 24-hour. And then we actually, I think our social media person is actually going to do a call tomorrow. So there's an event in the Facebook group for that. But if anybody wants to join, it's free till January, and all of our new calls start Monday, and I'm super excited about that. I think that'll be really great for everybody. So I think the only call that we're really looking to fill, unless somebody has some ideas, is we need somebody for media. So like DVDs, CDs, books, somebody to lead a media call. Otherwise, we'll go with what we have, and I think it's going to be really good. So today, I would like to on Thursdays, and this might be one that we have to play it by ear to see what people want or what they like. But my thought was for us to see a niche or deep dive a niche or deep dive a brand together. I think seeing other people do research when they're researching a brand is really valuable and really helpful. Um, but, and I don't mind that nobody volunteered because I don't mind doing the deep dives with you. I just would like to know what kind of stuff you want to see um, on a deep dive, or if there's brands, or if you want to see a category, or if you guys are in the middle of researching something and have an example, that's even better. So if you guys are working on something and you have an item that needs research further, that you need more information on, that would be awesome to use as a real example, and we can deep dive on that, and we can look it up and research with you. Otherwise, I'll just pick something and we'll just go into eBay and we'll do some research on a brand or category. So does anybody have any recommendations of an item or a brand or something for us to look up and deep dive together with? Otherwise, I'll just pick something.
That's tough because we all have such different categories.
We totally do, and it's okay. Like, I think that's okay, Jamie. I think it's okay if it's because I think lots of times clothing gets picked, which is totally fine too. But it's okay. I don't mind watching somebody deep dive something I don't sell. That's okay because I learned from the research end of it. So let me pull up my eBay here. Maybe.
How about wind turbines?
On eBay. Let's not.
They're hard to
Ask for
ship,
an
man.
So throw out a brand name of something at me, and I will show you that if I had never heard of it before, how I would research that on eBay.
About Ping.
What's that?
Ping?
How about cat sweaters?
Oh, sorry, I don't go.
Golf club.
How about kitty coats?
What?
Kitty coats for cats.
There you go.
Oh,
I'm just
well,
messing with
we're going to go for the putter. However, if they make kitty cats, you better believe I'm going to be looking at them. Because
What about a putter for a cat?
oh, my cats aren't that smart. So when you put in we also want to be searching just like our customers would. So if we just put in that's a good start for us, I think. And then you would go over here to the left-hand navigation and we would decide, okay, are we looking at clubs? Are we looking at golf bags, golf equipment, golf balls,
You're not
shoes?
sharing.
I'm not. It says I am. Okay, hang on.
You're not sharing the correct screen. How's that?
I see that now. Hang on. My computer's not excited this morning. We'll try again here. Do we see golf clubs now?
There you go.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So we want to search just like we would for a customer. And then the left hand over here, that's where our options are. So let's just choose golf clubs. And then here it kind of will help us say, hey, do you want to narrow it down? But when I'm researching, if I am not looking for a specific item, I will just kind of leave it kind of wide open to just see what we have to work with if we're just researching it. But if I'm researching it because I want to get into golf clubs and I haven't ever bought one before and I want to see if this is something I'm interested in, I'm going to leave it really broad. Go down here and I'm going to go down to solds and check that. And then let's see, okay. Sometimes when you research a certain brand or a certain item, you're going to see a real like, okay, wow, they all go for about 30 bucks or they all go through, you know, for about the same amount, but most of them are going to have standout items or standout, brands, or there's going to be something a little different about some that bring more money. So the first thing I usually end up doing is hit space minus lot to take the lots out, because of course you're going to get, you know, higher prices on the lots usually. So you can search by ended recently right here. We can search by condition. We can search by highest price, newly listed, shipping plus, you know, the cost. And so lots of times if I'm just researching a brand, I like to see, hey, I want to see what the really great stuff is. I want to see what the standout ones are. So obviously there's some good ones. Have you ever had any of these really good ones, Larry?
There's one brand in particular, or one model, that I'm sure you will find in the course of doing this. If I can tell you, but you should be able to find it fairly quick.
I find this kind of amazing that there's $1,000 golf clubs. This one's not even vintage.
I would get rid of new, because chances are we're not going to run into a whole lot of new.
You're correct. We still have some expensive ones.
It annoys me. Look at why do you do the column? Why don't you do the grid? You can see more at a time.
Because I've always done the column. That's a good
It's less
question,
efficient.
though. Do you guys do columns or do you do grids? Am I the only one that does columns?
I do columns.
Columns.
Yeah,
Columns.
I always do. Yep.
You guys are wasting your life. All this time on this column here.
I feel like
You could
I don't know. I like it.
12 ads right now, and you can only see 3.
Well, it works for me, Jamie. You can live
Just
the
'cause
you
it
can live
works.
you can live the other life.
Just because it works doesn't mean it's efficient.
Well, it's what I'm used to. So if I do the other way, I'll be all clunky. Have you ran across the good one yet, Larry?
The particular model is called, if you include the word Scotty.
Is that a term a customer would put in?
Yes, Scotty Pippen, not Pippen, Scotty Cameron.
Yep.
Wow.
That's a big one for golf. The name.
Yeah, I've found 2 of them in the wild, and
You have.
it definitely makes my day when I pick them up for $3.
I'll bet.
Wow. Let's just look at one. So like if I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, wow, like let's look at that one. We noticed that the Scotty Cameron one is bringing good money and it's, you know, a popular brand apparently. And I would go in there and I would look and see, okay, the ones that are selling for all this money, are they in perfect condition? And you know what? It doesn't look like they are necessarily. I mean, they've got a little bit of wear. Or do they have amazing pictures? Is it their title? Is it their price? What is it? So that I know, can I get mine to sell for that much?
My
And
mistake on that. It's
yeah.
Titleist, not Ping.
Hey, Larry,
these-
you just gave me a great idea for your YouTube channel.
What's
You
that?
could do Larry in the wild when you're out sourcing.
That's been done, man. I'll tell you. I mean, 80% of the YouTube videos I see for resellers are just, you know, out hunting.
But I would love for you to do that and share it with us. If you didn't want to do it all the time, you could still do one, and you know, like that would make some good comedy video. You sitting outside an estate sale at, you know, 3 a.m. and
It
Yeah.
would be even better if you pretended like you had dementia the whole time.
No, it wouldn't.
Sick, Jamie.
Where do you get this stuff, Jamie?
This pops up in my head, man.
Yeah.
Like snap pops.
Oh, boy. Well, and God bless your wife, man.
Wow. Have you sold
just
any of the $6,000 ones, Larry?
No, both of the ones I sold went for around $300, and both of them I got for one. I think I got for $5. The other one I got for 3. And one of them was in pretty good shape. The other one was not. But anyway, that's a particular golfer that signed up with Titleist, and apparently he's a really good putter, and they that's their very high end model.
They also make Scotty Cameron polos that are if you see those, they go for really good money too. Pretty much anything Scotty Cameron in
Yeah.
the golf world goes for good money. Even just like the putter head covers, if you don't see the putter, but you see the head cover,
Mhm.
those can go for $40 or $50 just for the head cover.
So if I was asking you guys, anybody, and you signed up and said, hey, I'm going to do this niche and I'm going to do golf clubs. And so it would look similar to this, but then you might want to tell us, okay, this is what a pro of selling golf clubs is. You might tell me that you can find it lots of places. You might tell me, what else might you tell me, Larry, if I was like, you were doing your niche, and what's great about selling golf clubs?
What I don't understand the question. Could you restate
So
it?
like a pro of having that, if this was your niche.
Oh,
So
I
like
see.
what's availability or
Yeah, so some of the things that I've learned, and take this all with a grain of salt because I'm no expert. I learned about the Scotty Cameron by doing what you're doing right here. Right. I just went in and I said putter, golf putter, and I sorted by price, descending. And I scanned probably 30, I don't know, 10, 20 sheets, and I noticed Scotty Cameron kept popping up. I also noticed Titleist. I did the same thing for golf clubs to find the brands. I also used artificial intelligence to ask it, what are the 3 best brands for golf clubs? And sure enough, anyway, with 20 minutes of research, I zeroed in on Scotty Cameron being a putter that you want, and I also zeroed in on Ping, Titleist, and um, damn, what's the other brand? 3 brands that are really good golf clubs. In general, I stay away from anything that is not in that short list, just because there's a lot of this stuff out there and it doesn't bring in good money. So some of the other things you're looking for is obviously condition. When they're really beat up, expect beat up prices. One of the things as a niche for thing to know about these things is generally the bottoms will get scratched up early. The faces where that hits the ball, you want to avoid any sort of golf equipment that has a gash or a big ding that impacts the front or that hits the ball. You can file them out, but it's extra work. The other thing that's less of an issue is the grip itself. It's rubber, they decay. And so I don't know, probably 2 or 3 times now I've gotten real excited about a $75 set of golf clubs, and all of the grips were rotted. Right, they get that real sticky, and it comes off on your hands kind of problem. So they're not hard to replace, but they do take time. And I've replaced tons of them now. But another thing is if they have the cover, that's great. It's not mandatory, but a lot of times the cover will be rotted or flaking because they tend to use cheaper. They don't use leather. It's more of a pleather kind of stuff. And so the covers flake a little bit.
and what's some of the
So
cons of selling those? I'm sorry, Suzanne.
Uh,
it was
Go ahead.
me, Nadine.
Oh, Nadine,
I
sorry.
had a
don't have
question for Larry on that. So I think what you're saying is if there's like dings or gashes on the face, it's a hard pass. But if the rubber handle part is sticky, it's still worth picking up because it's easy to replace.
From a high level, I would say yes. The scratch on the face, if it were a $10 or $20 iron or club, yeah, I'd probably pass on it. But if it was just one piece of a set and you can get the set for 50 bucks and the set is worth 300 bucks, you can always buy a replacement piece for it. Or if you're like me, you can spend 20 minutes and make that defect go away. But you have to consider your, the cost of your time in
Right.
there to kind of make that call.
Okay,
But
makes sense.
I always use the rotted rubber as an excuse to poo-poo the price, and it's like, oh man, no way. Look at this, and the guy grabs it and it sticks to his hand. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, $3. And I know that in my shop here, I take a razor blade tool to it and I scrape, 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 and 5 minutes later I got it replaced for a $7 part.
Okay, that's very valuable. That's a very valuable negotiating tip. Thank you.
Yeah,
And even on a single club, I think it's all going to boil down to just like any other flaw on any other item that we look at. If you pick up $1,000 putter and it's got a gash on the face, I'm still buying it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the bottom line.
Mhm.
yeah, because somebody else may even buy it. You could sell it as is with the gash. And if it's $1,000 putter and it's got a nasty gash, it'll go for $100 because somebody knows how to repair it.
Devin, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask Larry and Nadine kind of asked all together. So you do not regroove into your face at all?
No, I could.
And-
There's do you do that?
No, but here's just crazy. So I've played on my whole life, but yet anytime I go into any kind of store, I have yet to find a golf club that was worth ever picking up. And I'm talking about like they're old, they're like 40, 50 years old, they're absolutely useless. And my other question, you kind of answered it for me already, is why are you putting a new grip on it? Because me as a player, I want all my grips to match the same. I don't want, I got a certain particular Golf Pride brand grip that I want to put on there.
Right.
And if I'm buying that from you and you've already put a brand new grip on it, I'm going to cut it off anyway.
Right.
Because it feels different in your hand. I don't want, with the exception of my putter, which I've got one of those big, real fat grips on it. That's kind of like the roll of from like a toilet paper tube.
Right.
All my grips, I want them all to feel the same way in my hand. So I
Yeah, I
don't know
get
if
But-
you ever just cut the grip off and sold them as is with notating it needs a new grip.
I thought of that, but I always conclude that that there's going to be some percentage of the people out there that aren't as picky about that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And my perception is my labor and a $7 part is my 20 minutes or 10 minutes it's going to take to put a grip on is worth a whole lot less to me than the $20 or $30 more I could get for that item.
Okay.
There's
But
honestly
I definitely get what you're saying.
$24,000 golf clubs.
What did you say?
Well,
About
the
$4,000 golf club?
Wow. That might be a little money laundering going on there.
Well, and the username is Lefty Scotties, which makes you think that it's a left-handed putter, or maybe
Oh,
I don't know. That's a lot of
and
money.
he's also got
No,
900
you get
sales.
some of these Mizuno clubs or some of these Japanese brands. I can't think of offhand. The irons alone, 3 through 9 iron can be $2,500 to $3,500.
Yeah.
Well, this one was 24,000.
No,
That's for two of them though, but
it
still.
comes with a Disney Black Diamond VHS.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is money laundering though. He looks kind of legit.
Yeah, he's got 900 sales. It's the
And his
ones
name's
with
Lefty
1 or 2
Scotty.
sales.
So my guess is he just does this. Maybe this is like super rare.
Well, look at his store name.
Yeah.
That's pretty darn specialized, if you ask me.
Says it's rare. Comes with certificate of authentication.
It's kind of funny because on Sunday I watched a Scotty Cameron video on YouTube, and I thought he's just some old man that's like Carson Solheim, barely alive. Shoot, this guy was like in his late 50s, early 60s, and I've known this guy for 20 plus years.
Did you have a question, Jamie?
No, I had a statement.
Okay.
I think we're missing a big part of this search that we're doing here.
Okay.
This is all fine and dandy when you go through and look to see what stuff is selling for, but I like to take it a step further and actually start searching the actual sellers to see, because one like the $8,715, right? This
Mhm.
guy might have sold 3 clubs in the last 90 days. So his title, his description, all that might be wrong. I mean, because we're kind of searching here for prices, and we're also kind of searching what shows up first, right? And what's selling compared to what their title is, their item
Mhm.
descriptions, and all of that, right?
Yep.
All of these listings here, these could be bullcrap sellers. These could all be unicorn sales. So we got to dive deeper into there and see which ones are actually getting multiple sales, and what are they doing to stand out from their competition to get more sales. And then we have to go back to the general search, not the solds, and do it the same way and see if it's the same people popping up. When you find the balance of who's selling the most and who's showing up first in general searches, that's where you find your information, because obviously those people have the best titles, they have the best item descriptions, photos, because they're ranking higher and they're selling more.
Yep.
How do you
This
find
is a
who's
first.
selling the most quantity?
Well, that's the legwork right there. You know,
Yeah,
it's
that's,
elbow.
there's
You
no,
just got to go to each page and go to each solds and
yeah.
one
That's
at
why
a
I'm
time.
kind of, this is like our high view overview thing. This is just how I get to know a brands that will pop out at me that maybe I should be on the lookout for. It's more or less what this is. But if you were doing a deep dive on your niche, which I would love people to do, so that would be an excellent thing to have pulled up and ready. Like you would already have that searched out. You would have it, hey, look, and then I look, and these people are consistently selling in my niche at the highest rank. And I found this out, and that would absolutely be great, great information. And Harry's right. You do start seeing the same seller over and over again. When I do the jewelry call, I notice all the time, I'll go, whoop, there she is again. We see the same sellers with the higher prices. And I don't think I've ever seen a 0% feedback before. Well, they
There's
have
also
feedback. 0.
there's also a second part to this, and that has to do with how you searched. I'm sure there are like very niche golf club sellers that only sell Scotty, Cameron, maybe, but I highly doubt it that they're, so
I have
we're
golf
searching,
club in.
like this could be like a specific quick search just to find out like base pricing for your item. But if you're really looking at the niche of golf clubs, you have to be like less specific. I don't even know, how is this Scotty
I
Cameron
have
coming
it
up when you
searching golf club.
hit search again?
It's golf club and then sorted by price.
Yep.
Okay, so you get what's the highest price selling
Scotty
stuff?
Cameron's shows up as the top
24
three,
grand.
Okay.
but that's in a different place compared to
Right.
the stuff I
Yep.
find in the garage sales.
For
But
sure.
I
And that's
like where
why,
you're going with that though, Jamie, as far as going that step further is figuring out is the research that's going to help you sell what you've gotten.
and that's what I would
Right.
love for people in their niche to do. So like if I was a golf club seller and I was doing this, I absolutely would have done what Jamie does, because that's right. And I would have had it all pulled up and ready to go. This is an on the fly impromptu. I don't sell golf clubs. I don't know anything about them. But that's what I'm trying to get from people to do this on Thursdays, because you would know enough to have this stuff pulled up. You would be able to tell us, this is how I search. This is how I narrow down the good sellers. This is how I figure out my good titles. And absolutely, that's what we'd be looking for. This is just kind of like a on the
What
fly.
instantly popped into my head when I started seeing all these prices and stuff was all the delusional people that think Beanie Babies are worth $10,000. And I don't want people to be misguided by thinking like,
Right, for
okay,
sure. I'm just trying to get brand names.
Yeah.
If I do that in
Yeah.
jewelry, I'm gonna see, $1 million items sometimes, hundreds of thousands of dollar items. I know I'm not gonna really find those. I could though, and I still want to know those brand names. I still want to have those names jump out at me. So on this too, we could also take a step further. Like like what Larry said, he's like, I don't find these in my area. He may be completely correct. So then we could go and we could do by item location. and we could do what they refer to as the zip code call. And you have to change your location, but like it has my zip code in right now. And it brings up 31, which is amazing to me actually. And then it might give me an idea of what I might find in my area. So see how it's doing 25 miles from my zip code. So there's 31 sellers, and we can change that information if we wanted to by hitting this blue mark here. What's your zip code, Larry? I bet you have more than 31.
77345.
And if we did 50 miles,
That'd cover
we-
most of Houston. You're gonna
Yep.
get a lot.
3,500 and plus. So this would give, but it would give Larry an idea of, okay, these are things I might actually find when I'm out and about. And so that does get it narrowed down to what you may find in your area. So I've done this for jewelry, and it's pretty telling, although because I live in such a rural area, I don't get hardly any results in that either. But it does give me a better idea of what I might actually find. So
Hey,
you do see different brands coming up.
Carrie, what I like to do at this point is
Mhm.
if you look at your little bar graph to your left right there, the blue lines,
Yep, right
you
here.
can see the pricing and how it drops off drastically. I like to drag
Mhm.
that second slider over to probably a little bit more, maybe like the fourth bar, you know, yeah, somewhere in that ballpark. And that's going to be the vast majority of what's in that right, that it's in that area. That's
Mhm.
the price range. And this is going to give you a better idea of what you're probably most likely to find.
Yep. Good
Now,
job. Yep.
now knowing the high end stuff is you just need to know that, but focus on this part and just if you see the great stuff, obviously we get it, but we need to really concentrate on the bulk of it because like Devin
I
said earlier,
absolutely agree.
most of everything he sees is garbage and it's not worth picking up. So,
Yep.
you know,
And so before I end the YouTube portion, what I wanted to say is, so then I would go, hey, Larry, if he was doing this on golf clubs, which poor Larry just got volunteered today because he didn't volunteer to do golf clubs today, guys. So if he seems unprepared, it's because like I literally just did this on the call to him. And then I would say, so what are some of the disadvantages that you feel? And he would tell me, okay, like I got to find a box, I got to
The
ship it
shipping,
different.
shipping is a little bit of a challenge, although it's not hard once you figure out the boxes. I've got 2 different size boxes, and occasionally another is a warning is you don't want to go above 48 inches on your box length because that's a threshold that adds another 20 or 30 bucks to your shipping. And if you can, I mean, what I love it when they're just spray it off and photograph them. The ones that need maintenance or that need to be polished, um, you're looking at a half an hour per set. But if it's a $200 set, okay, so half hour is not hard spent. Um, one the easiest is you take them, you photograph them. Next to that is you take them, you clean them with Windex or some sort of cleaner, and you photograph them. Beyond that is polish, and what I'll do there is I've got a bench grinder with polishing wheels on it, and I'll just polish the bottoms or polish all of the head, and that'll take maybe 45 seconds to a minute per head, and that will add that's a very well spent 15 minutes. And then if they're all scratched up, then you're taking sanders and grinders and files and stuff to them, and that's very labor intensive. And I would only do that with the very high end sets.
So that's another thing I would ask, if you were doing this as your deep dive. I would say, tell me your tricks of the trade. If you have a special way you figured out how to clean your item, because there's other people out there that are selling the items that we are talking about,
Yeah.
and they may, tell me your tricks of the trade. Tell me how you price things yourself in your store for that item. You kind of get what I'm going with this. With I would like somebody, even if you just learned an item, you don't have to be an expert. It doesn't have to be your niche. It can just be like, hey, I did a bunch of research on this. It was really interesting. This is how I researched it. This is how I decided to list it. This is some of the things I found out about it. And just share with us on that way. It doesn't have to be a huge in-depth thing. So because if I watch Larry do his research or I watch Jamie how he did his, it's gonna be totally different. And that's how we learn those little bitty things that maybe somebody didn't know. Maybe somebody didn't realize about that graph, like what Russell said. Maybe somebody didn't realize that was even there. So just that little thing by, let's say, watching Russell do it, somebody's gonna pick up a little bit of a tip that might, be a game changer for them. So that's where I'm trying to, because I think most of us in here know how to do the basic stuff. So I'm going to end the YouTube recording, and if anybody wants to join us for when we do the last half of our call, you just go to Reseller Revenue Facebook group, and all the information's at the top on how to join us.